Hello. I'll keep the intro short as I have 41 closed rides and 27 changed rides, adding to a grand total of 68. Today I'm going to talk about all the rides at Disneyland that have closed or been changed. To keep the video from being a mess, I'll also sort the rides by land. The first ride I'll talk about is Babies in Toyland. Babies in Toyland opened in 1961 in the Main Street Opera House and had you see props from the movie of the same name. The ride closed in 1963 and got replaced by the original Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. There's one thing that has stayed to this day from the old ride: the toy soldiers. The original Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln opened in 1964 at the New York World's Fair and then got moved to Disneyland in 1965. In 1973, the show was replaced by the Walt Disney Story. Due to political backlash, the Walt Disney Story closed in 1975 and Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln came back the same year. In 2001, Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln turned into the Walt Disney Story, featuring Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln: The Journey to Gettysburg. In 2005, the ride was replaced by Disneyland The First 50 Magical Years, which closed in 2009. In 2009, the current Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln opened and hasn't changed much since. Depending when this video comes out, either Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln will or is currently in circulation with Walt Disney A Magical Life in the same building. And that was just one building. This ride has moved a lot. The Disneyland Gallery opened in 1987 near Pirates of the Caribbean. In 2007, the gallery was moved to the bank of Main Street, and also in 2013 to the Main Street Opera House. While Walt Disney A Magical Life opens, the gallery is currently closed but will probably open soon. This is a small entry to bridge the gap between Main Street and Adventureland. The Main Street Shooting Gallery opened in 1955 and closed in 1962 and was where the Gibson Girl Kitchen is today. The Safari Shooting Gallery opened in 1962 and closed in 1982 and was where most of the Adventureland shops are today. In 1982, the current Frontierland Shooting Gallery opened, but like the previous two, had you shoot real pellets instead of the current inferred beams. Swiss Family Treehouse opened in 1962 and was a walk through a tree. In 1999, the tree was replaced by the Tarzan Treehouse, another tree that was themed to the movie Tarzan, if you couldn't tell. In 2023, the Adventureland Treehouse replaced the Tarzan Treehouse and is now just themed to a family in Adventureland. I like Jane, it's a small silly detail. Indiana Jones Adventure has had a couple effects lost to time, so let's go over them. The walls in the Chamber of Destiny would rotate before the doors to give the illusion of entering different rooms. There was more fog in front of the Gates of Doom to confuse the rider on where they were going. Mara would shoot the ceiling and an ice machine would mimic rubble, but the ice machine would get stuck a lot. In the Mummy Chamber, there are fans that would blow gusts at the riders. And a much more drastic change is that the Rat Room was replaced by the collapsing tunnel. Also, the Rude vehicles would shake more intense than what they do today. Sorry, I can get very thorough. Another history-rich ride. Jungle Cruise opened in 1955 and was more like Kilimanjaro safaris at Animal Kingdom. There was monkeys, rhinos, giraffes, lions, hippos, elephants, crocodiles, and indigenous people. In 1957, they added the iconic anaconda, some water buffalo, and added more lions eating a zebra, expanded the indigenous village, and lastly added gorillas. In 1963, Mark Davis expanded the Mayan temple, added the elephant bathing pool and the lion's pride area. In 1976, the gorilla camp was added and also added the crocodiles trying to eat a bird. When the Indiana Jones Adventure opened, the ride was slightly shortened and got rid of the crocodiles and bird scene and also added piranhas. Recently, the indigenous tribe was removed and is now a market of some kind. Overall, a history-rich ride that's fun to ride. Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room has also changed a bit since opening. In 2001, the Barker bird and the front of the attraction was removed due to wood rot. In 2005, the show was reworked to be better, and in 2010, the ride was updated with projection mapping. Lastly, in 2025, the Tangaroa Tree. Let's head to New Orleans Square. New Orleans Square doesn't have any removed rides but does have some changed rides. Pirates of the Caribbean has changed since its 1967 opening. In 1973 they added Old Bill. In 1997 the Pirates Chasing Women were changed to Woman Chasing Pirates, and also changed the Pooped Pirate to the Gluttonous Pirate, and the woman hiding the barrels became a cat. In 2006 Captain Barbossa replaced the ship captain. Jack Sparrow was added around the ride, and the Gluttonous Pirate became the Key Pirate. In 2011 the waterfall effect was added. In 2017 the woman auction scene was changed from selling woman to selling stolen things. Also in 2018 the waterfall effect was removed and also added the half skeleton half human. Overall, a lot of changes. The Haunted Mansion is another good example of a ride changing a bit. In 1994 the Phantom Piano Player and an updated Beating Heart Bride were added. In 2004 Madame Leota floated instead of sitting in the table. In 2006 the Beating Heart Bride was replaced by Constance Hatchaway. In 2015 the Hatbox Ghost came back. In 2025 the new Beating Heart Bride was added. A lot of tweaks more than changes. The Country Bear Jamboree. The Country Bear Jamboree opened in 1972 and had 2 overlays. The Country Bear Christmas Special, which started in 1984 during the winter season. The Country Bear Vacation Hoedown was the summer overlay but was changed to be permanent until the show closed. In 2001 the Country Bear Vacation Hoedown / Jamboree closed and got replaced by the Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Many people say that the Buck, Max and Melvin and the Heffalumps and Woozle scene are the animatronics, but that's wrong. These are the props that were used in the mile-long bar. I also have mixed feeling about the newer Disney World version. Big Thunder Mountain, Space Mountain, Matterhorn kind of, and the former mountain. Splash Mountain opened in 1989 and didn't really ever change. The source material Song of the South was seen to be too controversial, so in 2024 Tiana's Bayou Adventure rethemed the mountain. I do feel like the original Splash Mountain had more stakes, as for now the big drop is just you growing. Also, the name change make it not quite a mountain and is now a structure. With that logic, Mickey's House is a mountain ride. The Indian War Canoes opened in 1956 and got renamed in 1971 to the Davy Crockett Explorer Canoes. That was the only difference, and a short entry, so small talk time. Galaxy's Edge is still pretty new and has had 0 changes, so next let's head to Frontierland. I'll try to keep the flow at a fast pace because there are 20 attractions just in Frontierland. There were 2 Frontierland vehicles. The Conestoga Wagons opened in 1955 and was a wagon that went around a trail. The Rainbow Ridge Stagecoaches also opened in 1955 and went on the same trail. Both closed in 1959, however a replica of the Rainbow Ridge Stagecoaches is in Frontierland currently. The Davy Crockett Museum opened in 1955 and was a museum dedicated to Davy Crockett. In 1956 the area was replaced by the Davy Crockett Frontier Arcade. Not much else, a short entry isn't a bad thing. Who wants to learn about rocks? The Mineral Hall opened in 1956 and was near Mine Train through Nature's Wonderland. In 1963 the hall closed for little reason. A lot of people know about the scavenger hunts in Epcot, fewer know about the one in Magic Kingdom, but did you know there was one in Disneyland? Legends of Frontierland opened in 2014 and closed the same year. Man, I haven't said that in a while. The plot was that people are mining all the gold out of Frontierland. This was a test, the prototype of Star Wars datapad. There's the Mark Twain River Boat, rafts to Tom Sawyer Island, sailing ship Columbia, and the Davy Crockett Canoes, but did you know there was a 5th boat? Mike Fink Keel boats opened in 1955 and went around the rivers of America. In 1997 one of the boats capsized, but no one was seriously injured. That same year the boats closed permanently. It's a bummer that instead of fixing or improving the boats they just closed them. It was Paul Pressler. If you didn't know, Paul Pressler was the head of Disneyland and had many cost-cutting measures. Let's stay in the rivers of America. The sailing ship Columbia opened in 1955, with the only alteration being the addition of the captain's quarters in 1964. Another ride with small changes would be Big Thunder Mountain. Big Thunder Mountain opened in 1979 and only changed 2 times. In 2011, the third lift hill on the Big Thunder Mountain in Paris had a piece of fiberglass fall off and injured 5 people, so the lift hill added the TNT effect. In 2014, Big Thunder also got projection mapping like other rides. This ride was iconic. Rainbow Caverns Mine Ride opened in 1956 and was a short train ride. In 1960, Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland opened and was an extended version which replaced the previous ride. You saw a lot of random animals and nice scenery. In 1979, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad replaced Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland, but what's left? There is a tribute to the Rainbow Cavers, but it's not the original. Something that did stay are the mines boarded up and the town at the end of the ride. This ride is probably the weirdest ride at Disneyland. Pack Mules opened in 1955 and was a group of mules you'd ride across Frontierland. There was a lead horse with a cast member on it leading 9 mules with usually children. In 1956, the area was extended and was renamed to the Rainbow Ridge Pack Mules. In 1960, when Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland opened, the Pack Mules got another name change to Pack Mules Through Nature's Wonderland. In 1973, the Pack Mules closed around the time Big Thunder opened. These are more short buildings rather than rides, most on Tom Sawyer Island. When Disneyland opened, there was a cabin set on fire. In front of it was a man with an arrow through his chest. In the 1980s, the arrow was removed, and then the story was he was unconscious from drinking. In 1990, the man was removed, so it was just a burning cabin, and in 2000 the fire was gone, making it just a cabin. In 2017, the rivers of America were rerouted and the cabin was removed. The original Fort Wilderness opened in 1955 and didn't really change. In 2001, a little girl lost part of her finger whilst playing with a mock rifle, and that was the decline of Fort Wilderness. In 2003, the doors to Fort Wilderness were permanently closed, and in 2007, Fort Wilderness was demolished. What replaced Fort Wilderness was a newer Fort Wilderness not open to the public, made out of cement to look like wood. This area hasn't been completely removed but has changed a lot. Castle Rock Ridge opened in 1956 and only changed once. In 2003, the area was completely covered in random props and is like that today. Tom and Huck's Treehouse opened in 1956 as well and closed in 2013 and hasn't been touched since. In 1960, Cascade Peak opened along with Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland. This was an icon of Frontierland and stayed until 1990 when it was demolished. Now there is pretty much nothing. The Indian Village opened in 1955 by Frontierland and Adventureland but moved in 1956 to its last location. In 1972, the Indian Village was replaced by Bear Country. In 1986, the Big Thunder Ranch opened and was a petting zoo with a barbecue. In 2016, the area closed to get replaced by Galaxy's Edge, which is good, but people miss the barbecue. I can finally get to a different Disneyland land. The Skyway opened in 1956, and in the second Bond Roll Skyway I've covered, You're Welcome Bond Roll Skyway 1. In 1994, this ride permanently closed, which is a bummer as nothing is there to this day. In 2016, the Fantasyland station was removed, which was the main piece of the abandoned attraction. RIP. Water-Autopia. Motorboat Cruise opened in 1957 and had one major change. In 1991, the ride was rethemed to Motorboat Cruise to Gummy Glen, which was themed to Adventures of the Gummy Bears. In 1993, the whole ride closed and the dock is still there to this day. This is 2 short entries in one section. Skull Rock opened in 1960 and was ride by Monstro the Whale. In 1983, the Skull Rock turned into normal rocks. In 1996, Triton's Garden opened and replaced Alpine Gardens, which I probably will cover. It was a garden with bronze statues of the Little Mermaid characters. In 2008, Triton's Garden was replaced by Pixie Hollow. The main King Triton statue is at the top of the Little Mermaid building. I would like to mention that those two sections have no correlation, I just was saving space. Mad Tea Party only changed twice ever. When it first opened in 1955, it was located where Dumbo the Flying Elephant is today. In 1983, Mad Tea Party was moved to its current location. Also in 2004, the Teacup's top speed was lowered, so this is the slow version. Speaking of Dumbo, in 1955, Dumbo the Flying Elephant opened and was located where the Red Rose Tavern is today. In the Great Fantasyland remodel of 1983, it was moved to its current location. The Sunnyside Amusement Park opened in 1922 with this ride before being moved in 1955. King Arthur Carousel is that ride and only changed twice after that, really. In 2003, the ride added benches, and in 2005 added Jingle the Horse for the actor of Mary Poppins, Julie Andrews. It's a Small World opened in 1966 and replaced Midget Autopia, which I'll cover soon. The ride has only changed a couple of times. In 2008, a lot of Disney movie characters were added. In 2022, dolls and wheelchairs were added, and on April 25, 2025, Miguel and Dante from Coco were added. Sleeping Beauty Castle walkthrough opened 1957 and changed twice. In 1977, the scenes looked like dolls, and in 2008 it was reverted to the original but with enhanced effects. This ride has had a lot of changes. Canal Boats of the World opened in 1955 and changed in 1956 to Storybook Land Canal Boats. In 1994, Sultan's Palace from Aladdin was added, and in 2014 the Old Mill was replaced by Arendelle from Frozen. This has changed a lot. Matterhorn Bobsleds opened in 1959 and was the same for a bit. In 1973, the star that would go on the peak of the Matterhorn was removed. Before 1978, the mountain was mostly hollow. In 1978, the mountain was filled in and also added Harold the Yeti and added the beginning crystal scene. In 1994, the holes that the sky buckets would go through were patched and also added a crate labeled Wells Expedition as a tribute to Frank Wells, who before his death had climbed but 6 out of the 7 summits of the world. In 2015, an updated Harold animatronic was added and is a big improvement. On the top of the lift hill there was an ice wall with a projected Yeti. The Crystal Cavern added pieces of old Matterhorn ride vehicles and replicas of the old sky buckets. And that's how you improve a ride. Take notes, Sorcerer's Workshop. Peter Pan's Flight, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, and Snow White and Her Adventures opened in 1955 and have similar history. Also Alice in Wonderland, but that opened in 1958. All the rides were rebuilt in 1983, and Snow White and Her Adventures was renamed to Snow White's Scary Adventures. Mr. Toad's only other change was right after the reopening, when the fireplace went from mist to crash doors. In 2014, Alice in Wonderland was redone with projection mapping. In 2015, Peter Pan's Flight Go projection mapping. In 2021, Snow White's Scary Adventures again got a name change to Show White's Enchanted Wish and also got projection mapping. Toontown time. Chip and Dale's Treehouse opened in 1993 as Chip and Dale's Tree Slide and Acorn Crawl. Due to broken legs and bloody noses, only the treehouse was left by 1997. In 2020, during the major Toontown overhaul, this was replaced by the cave area. The cave is pretty cool, but I feel like the treehouse play area was better. This is a complete downgrade. Donald's Boat opened in 1993 and was a 2-story play area. Similarly to Chip and Dale's Treehouse, Donald Boat's main features like the slide and horn were shut off by the mid-1990s. The current iteration is terrible. The ship is completely closed up with now features around the boat and the new name Donald's Duck Pond. But don't worry, this entry went from good to bad. The next entry went from good to nothing at all. The Jolly Trolley opened in 1993 and was a silly trolley. Due to low capacity, this ride was closed in 2003 to be replaced by absolutely nothing. I need a palate cleanser. Oh good. Goofy's Bounce House opened in 1993 and was a bounce house in the middle of Disneyland. In 2007 the bounce was removed, just making it another walk-around house, and it was just one room named Goofy's Playhouse. In the 2023, after the Toontown remodel, Goofy's How to Play Yard opened, adding slides and a cool area inside. That's how you improve an attraction. This ride only had small tweaks. Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin opened in 1993 and is very similar to now, but with a few differences. In 2010 the buckets in the beginning would pour, but now they are static. In 2021 the story was slightly changed to give Jessica Rabbit a bigger role. That's it. I have to cover 33 rides in Tomorrowland, so I'll try to be efficient but thorough. The Monsanto Hall of Chemistry opened in 1955 and was a chemistry museum. In 1967 Adventures Through Inner Space replaced the Monsanto Hall of Chemistry. Adventures Through Inner Space was the first Omni-Mover dark ride ever and had you go through inner space. In 1985 Adventures Through Inner Space was replaced by Star Tours. Star Tours opened in 1987 and was the first Star Tours ride to open. Star Tours would close in 2010 to be replaced by Star Tours The Adventure Continues. The main difference between the two is the old host was Captain Rex and the new host is C-3PO. Tomorrowland Autopia opened in 1955 and was the first Autopia to open. The second Autopia was Junior Autopia, which opened 1 year later in 1956. The third Autopia to open was Midget Autopia, which opened in 1957 and was the smallest of the rides. In 1959 Junior Autopia was extended and redone as Fantasyland Autopia. In 1966 Midget Autopia closed to get replaced by It's a Small World. In 1991 Fantasyland Autopia was rethemed to the Rescue Rangers Raceway, but was reverted the next year back to normal. Tomorrowland Autopia and Fantasyland Autopia closed in 2000 to become the current version, which is the biggest. Next year Disney says Autopia will be completely electric, which I'm excited for. This ride has had the same ride style but 3 times. The Astro Jets opened in 1956 and was between where Nemo's Submarine Voyage and Alien Pizza Port are today. In 1964 the ride's name was changed to the Tomorrowland Jets. In 1967 the ride was moved on top of the People Mover with the name Rocket Jets. In 1994 the ride was moved to its current location and current name Astro Orbiter. I wish the ride was still on the People Mover, especially now that there isn't anything there. This ride was referenced in the form of the hated Luigi's Flying Tires. Flying Saucers opened in 1961 and was ride unique, you don't see much today. The ride closed in 1966 and was replaced by the Tomorrowland stage. Like I said, a similar ride to this was Luigi's Flying Tires, but it worked much worse because of a lot of reasons which I'll cover in the Rides Closed at DCA video. You know what? Let's talk about one of, if not the most famous ride to close. The People Mover opened on 1967 and was very cool going through Tomorrowland literally. It was all perfect until 1995 when the ride closed permanently. In 1998 the Rocket Rods opened and it was a nightmare. It was faster than the People Mover but had the same track, so every turn made you slow down. 2 years later in 2000 the Rocket Rods closed to be replaced by... Oh wait! Nothing. I went on the Magic Kingdom version and I'm very mad at what we lost and if Disney didn't get all show-off-y. This was another museum ride for a movie like Babies in Toyland. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea exhibit opened in 1955 and closed in 1966, and like the Monsanto Mineral Hall was replaced by Adventures Through Inner Space. The first Disney 360 screen show. America the Beauty was the first iteration and opened in 1960. In 1967 the ride was replaced by America the Beautiful, with the same name but different video. In 1984 America the Beauty was replaced by Wonders of China, which was a Chinese-themed 3D show instead of an American show. In 1996, Wonders of China was replaced by the Quay of the Rocket Rods, which I covered earlier. In 2005, after the Rocket Rods closed, the building then housed Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, which is still there to this day. The other ride that existed that got replaced by Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters was the America's Space Experience. The American Space Experience opened in 1998 and was a space museum. In 2003, after the Rocket Rods closed, this ride also closed just for Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, getting rid of one of the last Tomorrowland museum. This entry is short because I can't find much information about it. In 1960, the Art of Animation, No, opened and closed in 1966. Let's just start another ride because that entry was short. The Color Gallery opened in 1956 and closed in 1963, and all we know is that it was around where Star Tour is today. I know Disneyland has bathrooms, but this one is special. Crane Company Bathrooms of Tomorrow opened in 1956 and closed in 1960 and shared the building with the Hall of Chemistry. The Aluminum Hall of Fame opened in 1955 and closed in 1960 to get replaced by Fashion and Fabric Through the Years. Fashion and Fabric Through the Years opened on 1965 and closed the next year to get replaced by Adventures Through Inner Space. Carousel of Progress opened in Disneyland in 1967 and actually moved to Magic Kingdom in Florida and is still there today. The building that had Carousel of Progress at Disneyland then had America Sings, which opened in 1974 and has killed one person, but that was not why it closed. That happened 9 days after opening day. In 1988, America Sings was replaced by Innoventions, which is one of, if not the favorite attraction of the building. In 2015, Innovations was replaced by Star Wars Launch Bay, which closed in 2020, and Superhero HQ, which I did and closed in 2016 and was Marvel themed. The building is currently unoccupied. This is pretty cool. Flight Circle opened in 1955 and closed in 1966 to get replaced partly by People Mover. You watched people fly model airplanes, and that's it. The Tomorrowland boats opened July 17th, and 30 days later was changed to the Phantom boats. In 1956, the Phantom boats were replaced by Motorboat Cruise. In 1993, the ride closed. Half was replaced by the new Autopia, but the dock is there to this day. Now the water Autopia is Aquatopia at Tokyo Disney Sea. The other ride that replaced the Phantom boats was the Submarine Voyage. The Submarine Voyage opened in 1958 and was cool. In 1998, the ride was rethemed to Finding Nemo's Submarine Voyage, which opened in 2007. The only other change was in 2021 and added Hank from Finding Dory, as well as other small changes. One of two of Walt Disney's trains. The Disneyland Railroad is still open, but the Viewliner opened in 1957 and closed in 1958 to get replaced by the Disneyland Monorail. Speaking of the monorail, the main difference between when it opened and now is, in 1959 the monorail was a perfect loop, but as of 1961 the track is the current layout. Get ready for another building full of history. Rocket to the Moon opened in 1955 and had you fly to the moon. By the way, that ride happened before the first person went on the moon. In 1967, Flight to the Moon replaced Rocket to the Moon and was pretty similar. In 1975, after we had already been to the moon, Mission to Mars opened and had you go to Mars. As of now, no human has set foot on Mars, but in 1996 it was replaced by Toy Story Funhouse. Toy Story Funhouse opened January 1996 and closed May 1996. It was replaced by Red Rocket's Pizza Port, which opened in 1998 and today is Alien Pizza Planet as of 2018. In short, a ride to the moon, became a ride to the moon, became a ride to Mars, became a Toy Story play area, became a pizza place, became a Toy Story pizza place. This entry is two separate buildings. The World Clock opened in 1955 but was removed in 1967. The current plot is being used by Astro Orbiter. The House of the Future opened in 1957 and closed in 1967 to be replaced by the Alpine Gardens. The Alpine Gardens were just a German picnic area which were replaced in 1995 by the Triton Gardens, remember? Have you ever seen this mural at Disneyland? It's hiding a whole show building. Captain EO opened in 1986 and replaced the space stage. Captain EO was a show about Michael Jackson. In 1998, Honey, I Shrunk the Audience replaced Captain EO. In 2010, Captain EO, a tribute, opened and was Captain EO but again. In 2014, the area showed a sneak peek to Guardians of the Galaxy, and after that now the theater is abandoned. Space Station X1 opened in 1955 and closed in 1960 to get replaced by Art of Animation. It was a space station illusion. The World Beneath Us opened in 1955 and also closed in 1960 and was an exhibit about rocks. The final Tomorrowland ride was Magic Journey, which opened in 1984 and closed in 1986 to be replaced by Captain EO. This was If You Can't Tell a show. Space Mountain has been through a lot of changes since it opened in 1977. In 1996, the ride got on-ride audio. In 1997, the classic white was changed to bronze colors. In 2003, the ride was replaced by a complete retrack from stress caused by the heavier cars with on-ride audio. The only other difference was in 2023 to add projection mapping. This is the final entry. Holidayland opened in 1957 and was a picnic area with various activities. In 1961, the area was replaced by New Orleans Square. Also, the name Holidayland comes from the word holiday, not as an event but rather the English word for vacation. I hope you enjoyed. The next video I'm making is an updated version of all rides at Disneyland as Walt Disney A Magical Life opened.